Right. Yes, we can start our session for today. Obviously, we have covered many topics already in the last three classes. Yesterday, we were discussing about written communication, and we also discussed about the memorandums, and obviously, we started discussing about the business letters as well. And we discussed two categories of business letters. We will discuss the third and the fourth one. Um, Yesterday, we also discussed about the strategies, the two different kinds of strategies we use to communicate in business. By the way, we use it for any kind of communication, whether in business or not. So, and we discussed about the direct strategy business letters. The first one was routine business messages, so where we were using direct strategy, and then we discussed about the goodwill messages and good news messages as well. So these two categories normally employ direct strategy. Now we have to discuss about the indirect strategy. And by the way, as discussed yesterday as well, we use indirect strategy to for those audiences where we have to persuade them. We need to provide some convincing arguments when we have to prepare the reader, or when the audience is hostile towards us or not interested in communicating with us. We normally use indirect strategy where we have to obviously start our message by not by using the main idea, but we delay the main idea towards the end. Instead of that, we start by giving the background or preparing the reader in some way, and then we come to the main idea, and then we provide the details, etc. So the two types of letters where indirect strategy is used is one is persuasive messages, and the other one is obviously negative messages. So we're negative or bad news messages. So we will first discuss about the persuasive messages or persuasive letters. Normally, in these type of letters, the letters which are regarded as persuasive are the sales letter or sales promotion letter, fundraising donation messages, and obviously we can say, for example, when we write a cover letter for the employment communication, or when we send it with our CVs or resumes. We will discuss about these CVs and resumes in the coming class. So there we the cover letter which we write, the job application letter which we write, normally uses a persuasive style as well. And in the you can say when we are writing a report, a proposal, again we use persuasive style or persuasive strategies. So these letters, these messages normally are regarded as persuasive requests, or you can say persuasive messages. So we will start by discussing about it. So, first of all, I will share with you some of the slides. Right. So persuasive messages. What if normally we first of all we have to understand what is persuasion. Persuasion is you can say that when we are trying to influence others' beliefs, attitudes, values, behavior, we are trying to persuade them in some way. Persuasive can be regarded as to encourage someone, to motivate someone to do something for you, or to convince them to accept your point of view. So all these meanings can be regarded as the meanings for persuasion. So if we talk about business letters or business messages, persuasive messages can come in different forms. As I said, sales letters, or you can say fundraising messages, are normally examples of persuasion. All right. So as far as the persuasive letters are concerned, if we are writing, for example, sales letter or a fundraising message, we have to use IDA principle, a concept which is known as IDA. We have to follow that IDA principle, where it's an acronym for a concept, right, which is normally used for writing persuasive messages. The best example for a persuasive message can be advertisements. So we know we are exposed to advertising all the time in our lives. whether it's television commercials or print ads or the outdoor advertising. If you notice, you will find that IDA principle is used quite easily, right? So just write down the full form of it. IDA principle, IDA, or you can say IDA model. It stands for, you can say, A stands for attention. So it means that whenever we want to persuade someone, we have to start by gaining their attention, or by, you can say, by catching them in some way, where the start should be of any message should be very catchy, or you can say should hook the reader, right? It should gain the attention of the reader. The persuasion cannot start without gaining the attention of someone. So we'll discuss some of the techniques how to gain attention. I stands for interest. So after we have started with by gaining the attention, we normally build interest, and how it can be achieved, we will discuss about it as well. Then comes the desire part, which means obviously we have to create desire, we have to reduce resistance, because normally customers are or the people are resistant towards different kinds of ideas or changes. So we have to employ certain techniques, or you can say strategies, so that desire can be achieved. And the last thing is action. That is, we have to motivate action in order to gain what we want from them. For example, when we are writing a sales letter, we are normally trying to we want to sell the product or service to some customers or clients, right? Exactly. So at that time, we have to follow this IDA model. This is a successful model. It has been tested time and again that IDA principle can be used. And it's not like this, that this is a new concept. It has been used for quite many years in the past as well. So IDA principle, this is the best model. And as I was saying, that advertising uses this IDA principle, IDA model, or IDA approach. Just we can notice that easily whenever we see an ad, we can, if you want, we can notice that these four concepts are being obviously used, or we can say tools used to persuade someone to accept the point of view, to sell the product or service. So this is the main aim of persuasion, by the way, in business. So when you are trying to propose something, when you are trying to sell something, right, so you can easily use this IDA model, and this is known as indirect approach as far as persuasive messages are concerned. So we will deal with some of the examples. I will show you the samples as well. So if I just want to show where how the IDA model is used, we will first look at the techniques which are used for IDA, as far as IDA model is concerned, and then we come to the sample letters, and then we can understand how this IDA principle or IDA model has been used. Now, obviously, for the sake of understanding what is IDA and how to write a persuasive message, we should understand that whenever we talk about writing, we have to divide the writing into three main parts. That is the opening part, the body, the main body, and the closing part. Obviously, because every part can consist of important information in it. So whenever we are talking about business letters as well, we have to talk about the text of the letter or the message. So we will obviously see this. We will discuss how to start and end the message. So I'm actually showing you the example of a sales letter and what we can do in a sales letter. Obviously, as I said, a sales letter is written to a particular client or a customer. And you are trying to obviously sell a product or a service to them. You are just trying to, in one way, you are trying to request them to purchase whatever you are offering to them. So the first thing, as I said, we have to use IDA model. So the first thing about IDA principle is that we have to capture the attention of the reader or of the audience. And how it can be done, obviously there are so many different kinds of techniques people use to gain attention in our real life as well. Sometimes when we want to talk about something, the first thing we need to understand is we have to gain the attention of the people. if you talk about, for example, our religion or our Islamic teachings, normally what we do to gain attention is we use Islamic greeting, for example, Assalamu alaikum. So this can gain attention. Everyone, if you are, for example, entering a room and there are so many people sitting over there, when you say Assalamu alaikum, everyone looks at towards you. So in this way, you can gain attention. This is what we have. We already use this attention technique when greeting people. So there can be other techniques as well, apart from the techniques which we use in our daily lives. There can be other techniques as well. If we talk about particularly a sales letter, or even not just sales letter, if you're talking about a fundraising message or a donation message where you are asking for funds from other people, there can be so many different techniques as far as the gaining attention is concerned. Some of the techniques are given over here. It's saying that if we are writing a sales letter or some other persuasive letter, we can start by offering something valuable to the customer, to the client, or we can promise a benefit or ask a question, because this is a very popular technique, asking a question. Whenever you ask a question in one way, you are trying to gain the attention of the people who are listening to you. So you ask a question, you can provide a quotation. You must have known that when you were in a school and you were writing essays for exams or for the classroom. So normally a teacher used to tell you, you have to use a lot of quotations, right? So the exact words of some famous personality or someone who was famous, so you used quotations as well in your essay. So at various places you used quotations. So what was the purpose of using it? Actually, one of the purpose was to impress the examiner. The other purpose maybe to gain the attention of the examiner, that you know so much about something and you are trying to support your arguments by providing a quotation of some famous personality, obviously. So you quote from the books, you quoted from you quoted various famous people as well. So quotation technique can also be used, and there are other techniques as well. So these are some of the techniques we can use when we are writing a sales message. Other techniques, for example, you can start by describing a story, or you can just start by an anecdote or a humorous you can say a story, right? Or you can start by, for example, by creating some sort of imagination in the minds of the audience. So if you look at the samples, if you try to share, if you look at the various samples available, for example, if you search for persuasive messages on Google, you will find so many different samples over there. So you can look at the sales letter, and every time you will see a sales letter, it may have a different technique which is used to gain audience to whom you are obviously trying to gain attention of. So just hold on. Just hold on. Okay. I hope that you can still hear me. Thanks so much. So as I was saying, we can start by gaining the attention of the reader. So this is the first thing we have to do. We will look at the sample and then understand it later on. Okay, and there are some other techniques as well. Now it's written gaining attention. How to gain attention? By starting with an offer or describing a benefit. Some examples are obviously given over here. Actually, these are random examples. They have not been they are not related as such. So, but you can obviously start with a question or a quotation or a proverb, related fact. Related fact means you can start with a definition if you are trying to sell a product or describing a concept over there. So you can just start by a simple definition or a related fact. So a testimonial is obviously when some satisfied user or some audience says something good about your product. So you can use it as a testimony in order to promote your product. Starting statement or a shortening statement, right? And there are other options as well. You can start by describing the product feature, a solution to a problem, an anecdote, personalized statement using receiver's name. It is same as testimonial, by the way, relevant to current facts. So there can be so many different ways to gain attention. You can learn about how to gain attention of the people by simply noticing what is happening on the media everywhere. For example, if you look at the news channels, you will find that headlines are given before the actual news. So these what is the purpose of giving the headline? Obviously they want to gain the attention of the audience members, and then later on they will obviously uh, give the details of the news. So if you see the newspaper, you will see a lot of headlines given over there. Normally they are catchy headlines, sensational headlines, which can attract the attention of the audience. So it's in the same way you have to start a persuasive message if you are using an indirect approach, by the way, by using the IDA principle, or by starting the message with gaining the attention. So just as an example, we can look at one sample. I will just share it with you guys. Just hold on a bit. Yes, hold on. Yeah, okay. I will show you one sample. Let's eat. Right. If you can see on your screen uh, a sample letter, I'll just zoom it for your so that you can understand. All right, this is our sales letter. Obviously, it's taken from somewhere, and the sender's address is, oh, the letterhead used. Green Group Estates is the name of the company, which is sending a letter to some other some customer, right? And I will further zoom it. Just, yes.